So I have this professor. She introduces me to a student of mine, right? She was my former professor. Anyhow, she comes over, brings her student or slash friend. We hit it off, right? And this is why I say it's so important to find people organically, right? Because that is an organic way to find someone, is through friends. Okay, so we hit it off. We started hanging out, me and her, on her own. Obviously, that was, I think, her intention of bringing her over to see if we were a match. Anyhow, so I meet this girl. We start hitting it off. We hang out, and when things when when things begin to get intimate, right? We're about to get into it. I, for the life of me, could not get a hard on, and I was just like, "What is going on?" I'm a young guy. I'm supposed to be, in this case, right, a stallion, a stud. I should be at all times ready and willing, cock the nose, as they say. So I couldn't, right? And I was embarrassed, and she's like, "Are you not attracted to me? Like, what's going on? Like, we're having this awkward conversation. I feel terrible. It's embarrassing, whatever." Anyways, I end up figuring out, the situation. I figured out after that. It works out. But then I do a little research, and I figured it's like, man, I had no idea that at the time watching pornography was going to be that destructive for me, right? And so this is where my semen retention journey began, right? It began after that embarrassing moment. And I think one of the main things that semen retention did for me at the time was that it allowed me to sort of separate my lust and sort of my objectification of women. So what happened was I was able to kind of separate that and see them as just beings, right? As there was no intention behind it, because I was able to separate it, and I was able to see them as just people. And so that was the first thing, right? Was just to distance myself from women in that capacity, right? To not just see them as objects of desire, if you will. All right. And then the other thing was that it just allowed me to kind of almost feel like a child again. It gave me a lot of energy, and it gave me a lot of clarity. Because if you could imagine, right, if you've been on semen retention and on it for several days, months, weeks, you're not gonna just lose it for anyone, right? The example that I get is like, imagine you've been fasting all day, and then the first thing you bite into is an onion, right? So you're not gonna bite into a female version of an onion, right? In terms of beauty. So in that case, you want to make it worth it. So if you are gonna embark on semen retention, you want it to be with someone that's going to be worth, or lose it, in this case, right? Or break that fast, if you will, with someone that's going to be worth it. Otherwise, there would be no point. So I think that's the other major benefit of semen retention, right? Is that it gives you that clarity of mind that you don't need to rush into these things, right? You can really take your time. And then the other thing, obviously, is, right, you want to be able, if you want to maintain, you want to be able to separate yourself from all the temptation, right? It means anything pixelated that's gonna drive you over the edge. So make sure that you don't like anything on Instagram or social media that the algorithm is gonna push your way. For sure, don't do that. Obviously, you don't need to be going on any websites to watch people in action. Those two things would be the major ones, right? If you can keep away from those two, I think that's gonna be your best bet. And you gotta find things that are gonna keep you busy, because if you're just sitting around and don't have anything productive to do, you're gonna have any reason to go out there or go in and do the things that are gonna break that fast, right? So this is what semen retention is about, and it started for me from that moment. And I've done periods of it where I've done it for a while. I enjoy the benefits of it, right? Which is just that clarity. I don't know if I necessarily need it anymore now. I've gotten the benefits from it already. But if you haven't tried it, I definitely encourage you to try it, because it is difficult. It's not something easy to do, especially if you've been addicted to, for the longest time, and you can't seem to break yourself out of it. This would be a great way to rewire your brain and get you to understand that you need to separate yourself from these things, right? From the body, from lust, from desire, and you need to sort of try to reorganize your sexual appetite. and see if that works. See if, I mean, I know there's tons of people that talk about semen retention, but think about that part, right? Think about the psychological benefits of like a sexual fast, if you will. All right, especially if you feel very lusty. I think it's important from that perspective as well, because after that, it was easier to talk to women because I knew that it was never the intention anymore. Like that was me getting something out of them was essentially just a byproduct. It was never the intention, as opposed to before it was. So that was the main difference, was I was able to separate the being from the body. It wasn't, and so that became very easy as well. And so if you find yourself always looking at women as objects of desire, try this, see if it works. I think it will. Have some hope, be patient, watch yourself grow, suffer a little bit, enjoy the process. Worst case scenario, you don't get anything out of it. You go back to whatever you've been doing and then it doesn't work for you, but so what? But at least you gave it a go. All right, I'll see you in the next one.